Yo, Shannon Dawson, bro. He's about that life, people, man. Shannon Dawson don't play. University of Miami offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson had some choice words for one Urban Meyer, who has made some comments about the Miami Hurricanes. And in fact, Urban Meyer has said that if Ohio State scores 14 points, Miami has no chance to win because apparently Miami can't score on payday in a whorehouse, according to Urban Meyer, based on one singular game against Texas A&M, seemingly forgetting that his Ohio State Buckeyes scored 10 points against Indiana and scored 14 points against Texas earlier this year. And, Shannon Dawson has just heard just about enough of it. And we saw a little early this year where Dawson got a little snarky with the media, but I'm going to be real. We were right and he was wrong because he was saying that we were running certain plays that we clearly were not running or we didn't have the right personnel to run those plays. But and as you've seen, there's been some adjustments in game plan, game calling, and even formations to where we've run a lot more pistol formation with Mark Fletcher, for which at that time we were not running any pistol formation going in when he had that little snarky back and forth with the media. But here we go. We are in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl, and media day is on and popping, and we've got Shannon Dawson being asked the question. I know who asked the question. And I love that he asked the question, so I'm going to give a shout out to one Gary Furman from Kane Sport. When I was part of Inside the U, they were competitors, but I have to give a shout out because I love the fact that he asked the question and I love the response that. And if it wasn't Gary Furman, then I stand corrected, but it sounded like Gary Furman to me. But love the response that Shannon Dawson gave. If you haven't heard it, we're gonna play it. But welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I am your host, Rudy Rodriguez. Show hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell, leave your comments, man. We are in less than 48 hours away from game time, man. Want to give a shout out to a sponsor of our show, Natalie Lopez, attorney at law. When life hits hard, the law firm of Natalie Lopez hits back harder. She practices in the areas of criminal defense and family law, based out of Fort Lauderdale. You can reach her at 954-888-8833. That's 954-888-8833. And you can reach her also on Instagram at NAT. That's NAT.guilty on Instagram. She covers the entire state of Florida, but she is based out of Fort Lauderdale. She will fight for you. And thank you, Natalie, for your continued support of our show. Let's continue right here. So we're going to share this with you because there's nothing more, nothing better than to just show you what actually happened. And this is what was said. So here you go. And, so this is obviously a graphic from Yahoo Sports, but let's take a listen.
They didn't win their last game.
Yeah.
Did they? How many points did they score?
Yeah. Very good point. Yeah.
I mean, nobody, Indiana won 13-10, and nobody's saying anything about that. That's just a great win by them. Yeah. It's an unbelievable win by them.
Yeah, nobody's saying Ohio State
we win
score.
10-3, and it's like the win sucks. Yeah. We really lost. Yeah, I don't buy into that. I don't pay attention to idiots, so it doesn't matter.
So he referred to Urban Meyer as an idiot because the question was about Urban Meyer, because Urban Meyer is the one that made the comments. And he has called Urban Meyer an idiot. And you know what? Salute to you, Shannon Dawson, because for some people compared this to the fact that some of the Ohio State players were talking about the fact that some of the Ohio State players were talking. I'm like, it's not even remotely the same thing because for one, Shannon Dawson's a coach. For two, he wasn't talking about Ohio State at all. He was talking about the comments made by Urban Meyer, a former head coach in college football, former head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, also former head coach of the Florida Gators. And the fact of the matter is he made these comments and, you expect more from coaches than you expect from media members because as a coach, you expect a certain level of, respect and not douchery, type of thing. Like you expected your former coaches would give you the same modicum of respect that they would want from you. So you don't over the top criticize coaches and make up stuff like, oh, they can't score because facts are facts. Miami can score. Miami has scored. Miami's averaging over 32 points per game and happened to have one game where they scored 10 points, which is their lowest scoring game of the season, while Ohio State scored 10 points against Indiana, and again, they called it a great win by Indiana. And not that it was a problem with Ohio State's offense, but because it was Miami, it became a problem with Miami's offense. Just the same narrative that was carried on when Miami initially was number 18 in the college football playoff ranking. And the first comments that came out were that Miami's offense struggled, which even at that time was not accurate. It was another inaccurate statement. So when you have all these inaccurate statements being made, it gets a little frustrating, and you're the offensive coordinator and you're being downright criticized by another coach who's on the media desk, but also who has a clear bias because he's the former Ohio State head coach. And this is an Urban Meyer who had been criticizing Miami, in fact, saying that head-to-head wins did not matter when comparing them to Notre Dame. Comparing Miami to Notre Dame, head-to-head doesn't matter. He said that. So, again, this is another example of the fact that maybe he's not, too excited about Miami playing Ohio State because he is an Ohio State fan. He can sit here and pussyfoot around about it, but he is an Ohio State fan, and he sounds like a fan. And when you hear stuff, I mean, at first I thought when he said we win 10-3 and it's the wind sucks, I thought he said the wind with a D. Okay, so he says the wind sucks. Yeah, that's on point. I mean, that's completely on point. You've heard nothing but criticism of the Miami Hurricanes football program and their offense and their inability to score. This has been nationally done by every podcaster, by every freaking pundit, everyone's said a word about. Yeah, Miami can only win this game if it's a low-scoring affair. I mean, give me a break. If that's your thought process, that the only way that Miami can win is if it's a low-scoring affair is because of one singular game, then seriously, you're stupid. Like, you're stupid. Like, we need to stop this shit. You're stupid, and you sound stupid because you sound incredibly biased and illogical because you're basing it on one singular result when there's no other result all year that would make you think that Miami can't score points. Once again, making it sound like Miami's played a bunch of ducks. Miami scored 27 points against Notre Dame. Miami scored 49 points against South Florida. Miami scored 41 points against NC State. Miami scored 37 points against Pitt. Miami scored points. Miami hasn't been shut down. Like, even in their losses to the Louisville and SMU, they scored 21 points and 20 points. I mean, let's stop acting like they did not score. They have a game in which you're playing with 30-mile-per-hour winds, and people who are at the game will tell you that wind was crazy, and they didn't try to throw the football. Like, they really didn't try to throw the ball down the field. And I think that was Dawson kind of getting in his own head about it. But once again, we're sitting here and we're having this conversation. You have this guy I love the question because it got a real answer. Now, I'm glad he called Urban Meyer an idiot. I'm glad he did. Because this narrative that Miami can't score points is utterly hilarious. Now, do I think that Miami's going to bust out a 35-14 win? No, I don't think so. I mean, I've said my prediction. I think the first team, the 17, probably wins the game, and I have Miami winning 20-13. So that's my number. Like, if that's what it is, that's what it is. Does it? I think it helps both teams for it to be a lower scoring game. Let's stop acting like Ohio State's dropping 50 a game. They're not. They're not. Like, that's the laughable component is that Ohio State's running a very, very similar offense to Miami in terms of they're not, they have time of possession, lengthy drives, blase. They're not scoring 50 a game. Like, they've scored over 50 once. That was against Grambling. Otherwise, their highest scoring game was against UCLA, I think at 48 points. Miami actually has 49 points against a Division I opponent. And that was USF that won 9 games. So, like, we got to stop this shit. Like, this is just nonsense. And it's frustrating because for a guy like him, I mean, he does have some level of pride. And when you're being constantly shredded by national people basically saying that you suck at your job, even though, look, while we get frustrated with him, he's not a bad coordinator. Like, he's not bad at his job. Do I think he gets in his own head? Yeah, I do. I think he gets in his own head at times. But he's not bad at his job. So, like, what are we talking about here? Like, he's had it. He's heard enough. And you know what? When coaches start doing it or former coaches start doing it, it's like, are you not watching the games? You're not watching. And that's what's so frustrating for me as someone who watches a lot of football. You're not watching games. Like, would they have that same opinion of Alabama, who averages less points than Miami? Would they have that same opinion of Oklahoma, who averages less points than Miami? Like, no, they don't. They don't do that. But for Miami, that's what they do. Even though Miami's only 2.5 points worse than Ohio State per game and 25 yards worse per game than Ohio State. It's like or whatever, 15 yards, something like that. Stop the noise, man. Stop the noise. Ohio State's not putting up 40 on Miami. Ohio State's not putting up 30 on Miami. This game is probably going to be decided inside of 24 points. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm expecting. And again, that has nothing to do with anyone's offense. You have two high-level elite defenses. And so doesn't mean that Shannon Dawson can't do his job. Doesn't mean that Miami can't score points. But it does mean that the defenses have a lot to say in this matter. And Miami's defense just held a very, very high level Texas A&M offense to 3 points on their home field. Their lowest point total in 23, 24 years on their home field. The team that's hasn't been shut out on its home field in 55 years. So Shannon Dawson, I salute you. Now you better go out there and call the game of your life, my friend. You better go out there and call the game of your life, or you're going to be the one that looks like the fucking idiot. So make sure that you now do your job and you make Miami look great. That's all I got. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We will be live at 7:30 p.m. Wednesday night, so make sure you are here. Appreciate y'all as always. This is Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.